What are your qualifications?
Well, I've been to Juilliard. I'm a graduate of Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
Quit picking your nose, Clark. Let's go. Look alive. Coming to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now is the time where myself and Jim are going to speak. Ta-da-da!
Well, Jim.
Well, what?
I'm admittedly a little nervous today.
You're frazzled, dude.
Dude, I am shaking.
What are you shaking for?
Because we got an awesome guest. We have Chelsea Goodwin in the studio.
Yeah. Who else? Did you find someone else too that you bumped? Chelsea? Should I call her?
I did not bump Chelsea. I did this for Chelsea.
Should
she
I?
has
Should I?
Awesome opportunity.
Should I called her and told her not to come?
No, I wanted her in.
Had her boyfriend kick her butt?
This is the idea. Is I hope to have these kind of special guests come in for our local actors, just not unknowingly every now and then, so they get to ask questions.
So we have two guests.
Yeah, we have two guests. But before
ourselves
and Emily.
Jim and I's here.
Emily, how are you doing?
I'm good.
So, how's your week been?
It's been awesome. Boys started school.
Oh, free house.
Yeah, we got a hedgehog now.
Wow.
It's a rat.
You got a hedgehog, Jim.
It's so cute.
It's a rat. I don't know. It's leaving. It's not staying at my place.
It's not staying, but it's still the cutest.
That's a shame.
What happened to Stella?
Well, Stella wasn't my dog. She's
I know. She's
at home with her mom.
I like Stella.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea. We kind of rushed into this because, I was thrown. I've been really busy.
So tell me what you're freaking out about. What's going on?
I went and saw Angry Birds 2 last week.
That's okay.
And I really going into the movie, they have a short film in front of it called Hair Love, and I thought,
can we start over? You went. I want you to hear yourself say that. I went and saw what?
I went and saw Angry Birds 2. It was great. It was really good.
I'm like, there's a second one.
I know, and it got a theatrical release,
and it was really good. Anyway,
okay.
Before the movie starts, there's a short film called Hair Love, and it's directed by Matthew A. Cherry. And
there's three words in there. Say them.
Matthew A. Cherry.
Matthew A. Not Matthew A. Cherry.
No, Matthew A. Cherry.
Okay.
And he.
Do we know what the A stands for?
Yes,
we can ask him. But
I think it's just A.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Matthew Cherry.
I literally thought both movies were awesome. Not awesome. I thought Angry Birds 2 was good. And I thought Hair Love was amazing. I was in tears before Angry Birds 2 even started.
You talking like short film Oscar thing, or?
And I immediately, when I was watching it reminded me of the feelings that I had when I first watched Up, like those first 5 minutes.
I cried in that movie.
And it's not the same story, but there's the heart there that it just reminded me of Up. And I tweeted about it, and then I went and saw Blinded by the Light right after and just kind of put my phone off. And then I
had a good cry.
And Blinded by the Light was amazing.
Did you have a good cry?
I saw it with Grandma. I saw it with Grandma. Yeah, and I did have a good cry.
Nice.
And
did she pay?
No, I paid for myself. I have the AMC A-list, so it's free.
Did you pay for Grandma?
Did you pay for Grandma?
I did not, unfortunately.
Why didn't you pay
what a dirtbag.
I know, I'm awful.
Sorry,
Take Grandma on a date, always.
Jeez.
So
I'll pay next time, Mom.
I get out of the movie, and I checked my Twitter, and it just had blown up. And Matthew had saw my tweet and quote tweeted it, saying that it was like the nicest thing anyone's ever said about his movie. Saying it was the first 5 minutes.
What'd you say? What'd you say? You gotta tell us now.
I said it reminded me of the first 5 minutes of Up.
Oh, really?
And he thought that was like nobody's ever said that, and he was really honored by that. So I'll follow him because it's like really good short film, and he followed me back. So I was like, I'll shoot my shot. And see,
shoot your shot,
and see if he actually responds.
PG-13 show from Brady.
So I
What's up?
I DM'd him and asked him if, hey, we have this podcast on Wednesday, and I'd love for him to call in and talk to us a little bit about his movie, his short film Hair Love. And I kind of dug a little deeper on his bio. He was a former NFL football player.
Oh, that's
played
cool.
wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars for a little while, and then after that kind of didn't work out, he retired from football. He went into producing and writing. So he's produced the Black Klansman movie. Sorry, Black Klansman, and he also produced.
Take a breath. It's okay.
I'm just really excited.
Okay.
Produced
I'm excited for Chelsea.
The Last Fall
you don't
on
see
Netflix.
me making a fool of myself.
Last Fall for Netflix, and 9 Rides. So these are all.
How many of those have you seen?
I've seen The Last Fall and Black Klansman. I haven't seen the other two.
Okay.
So I'm intrigued to talk to him a little about it. He works for Keegan Michael Peele.
Okay.
Keegan Peele. What's his name?
Yeah, Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. There you go. My brain stopped.
Keenan Ivory Waynes.
Yeah. Jordan Peele. He works for his company Monkey Paw.
All right. Well.
So yeah, and he should be coming on here. Emily should be calling him in the next 5 minutes or so.
Well, cool.
But in the meantime,
Hair Love about.
So
yeah, give a short synopsis.
You're right. So Hair Love.
Is it about loving hair?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, the short to it.
I don't have mine for very many more years, so I love my hair.
So the idea is that it's an animated short, probably like 5 minutes long, about an African American father trying to do his daughter's hair for the first time, and
that would make me cry already.
And the idea of it, I don't want to really spoil it for anybody, but the mom's not around anymore. And
well, that's in a 5 minute film. What else could happen?
It's true, and I really want everyone to be able to go see it on their own. But it
means I got to go see Angry Birds too, though.
Yeah, and
can we just go get tickets? For Angry Birds
and then leave.
Watch that.
I honestly think
and then be like, we didn't like the movie. Go see another one.
I
honestly think that Angry Birds is worth the watch.
What?
But
we'll talk about it later.
I haven't seen the first one.
I don't think you need to see the first one.
I hear the first one's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like the first one.
We'll talk that later because we got a lot to get to.
But essentially, so it kind of starts off. Hair Love starts off. This little girl pulls out her iPad, puts it on the bathroom, and she was watching a YouTube channel to do her hair because she's got this big afro and she doesn't know how to handle it. So she's watching this YouTube video to figure out how to do it, and it kind of cuts, and she's just totally messed up her hair. And then the dad kind of walks by the bathroom and notices, like, oh no, she's done like who knows what to her hair. So he grabs her, runs her to her bedroom, kind of takes all the stuff out, and gives her a beanie to put on her head. So he doesn't want to do the hair, and she like tells him, no, like you have to do my hair. And he tries, and he completely just fails, and he like realizes it doesn't have any words to it, and you can tell that he just knows that he doesn't know how to do this, and he needs his like wife. And he starts crying in the middle of the hallway.
Okay, that's enough. I get the gist. I don't
oh
need
my gosh, I'm like
no more. So all right, so we're gonna give him. He's gonna give us a few minutes, and then we're gonna
15 minutes. I asked for. We'll see how long.
We'll see how long as people let us talk, and then we'll get Chelsea's interview in.
Yep.
Did you watch the movies this week?
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
You did
actually
do your
I bought
homework.
it and I watched it yesterday.
I can't listen to ESPN 700 without them talking either to you or about you anymore.
I'm completely exhausted. I've worked 30 hours the last 2 days. I'm just so tired.
Yeah, it must be terrible. They're talking about you on the radio all the time.
It's been nice.
Were you on Bill Riley's show today?
I was not, but I was.
He talked about you over and over again. I thought he said you came on, and I missed that part.
Our video stuff is kind of taking off. So
that's what he was saying. He was praising you.
So that's been really nice. And I've been, it's gratifying to see.
Well, that's what Emily was telling me on the way here. People like to be praised.
Oh, I like to be praised every now.
They like to be noticed.
They like to be noticed and praised, is what she said.
Acknowledged.
Appreciated. And she says I'm weird because I could care less.
I think appreciation is connected to praise. So.
Yeah.
You can't be appreciated without No, I'm pretty sure they're spelled differently. I'll work on that.
Okay.
I'll work on that.
All right.
Cool. So I'm looking through, now I'm trying to think of, I'm trying to find connections. Now, I know Malcolm Sunsire worked on Black Klansman. He works for Spike Lee.
Okay.
But I don't recognize any of his other movies and where to find them. Yeah.
So The Last Fall is on Netflix.
Okay.
And I vaguely remember it. I mean, he directed it as well.
Okay. We'll have to figure out what he did, and we'll check out, see the legitimacy. We'll see.
We'll see how good he really is.
He sounds give him pretty legit to me.
We'll give him the shakedown. If he wins an Oscar for his short film, we'll say we knew him back when.
It sounds Oscar worthy.
That's what it sounds like.
It's very good, and
wouldn't that be weird though to win it, and then you're like, well, where did you show it? In front of Angry Birds 2.
And I honestly, and I'll get to
Wherever
that point.
it can get out, right?
I'll get to that point, but at this point, I would put Angry Birds 2 in the nominations.
I
for
saw
best
your list.
Best animated movies.
I
of the year.
saw your stinking list.
It's gonna be nominated for
You're
best
gonna make
animated
me
movie.
watch that movie.
Toy
It's not
Story
gonna-
4.
I liked it better than Toy Story 4, but it's gonna be. It won't win best animated movie.
And I
Toy
know
Story
where you
4
live.
probably will win, but I'm hoping someone
I'm
else
gonna
does.
find you after I watch
Will you
part
go ahead
2.
and call him, Emily?
I'm gonna find
will.
you.
Make sure you hit one.
I'm gonna track you
first,
down, and I'm
or it
gonna
won't work.
I'm gonna ask you for my $12 back after I watch that movie.
It honestly is so surprising.
No,
Like I'm actually intrigued to hear a second movie or
a third movie because I try to watch the first one
with the new
'Cause it was
director
free.
because the new director is he comes from Adventure Time, and
Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I
Thorup-
put it in a pancake.
Thorup
Bacon
Van
pancakes, that's
Orman.
what I'm gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
Thorpe Van
Huh?
Orman is the
What?
director
What's
for
up?
this new Angry Birds movie, and he
I don't know,
does a
man.
fantastic job. It's his first time in a feature. He does a great job. You could definitely tell it's like this first time director getting an opportunity to actually be on. It looks like Emily's got Matthew over the phone. She's gonna put him on hold for a second, see if we can put him over the line.
Yay.
That worked out the first try.
Yeah, we tried it the first time. It worked.
What's up?
Let's see if she can put him over though. This is the test. She's on the
talking.
phone. Well,
She's got that face.
once
She's
she puts
scowling
him
at
through,
me. But I'm used to being scowled at, so that might not be anything.
play-by-play from
Or is
Emily,
that just her face?
It might be her face.
and
You're
slowly,
gonna get me in trouble.
Don't.
and he's almost on. We got him, maybe. And it looks like Matthew is on. Matthew, are you there?
Matthew, do we have you?
Matthew, do we have you?
Hello?
Oh, Matthew, there. All right, we got him.
Technology.
Matthew, this is Braden you're talking to. How are you doing, man?
Wait, say your name one more time?
Braden.
Braden. Okay,
Yeah.
hey.
Oh, yeah. So I want to first off thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to come in and talk to us. I kind of want to have everyone go around the room and introduce themselves. Like I said, I'm Braden Clark. I got this whole thing set up, but Jim, you want to go?
Yeah, you don't have to say Jim. I'll just introduce myself.
I mean, this is a new thing.
What's up? This is Jim Stevens. Long time, first time. No, I think it's the other one. First time, long time. I think it is. Nice to meet you. I'm looking at your resume, and you've worked with some pretty cool people already. So congratulations on that.
And hi, I'm Chelsea. Nice to meet you.
Chelsea
over
what?
the phone. Chelsea Goodwin,
Local talented actress, producer. What else you do?
writer,
director.
director. I have done that.
Right, awesomeness.
And you already met Emily over the phone, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay, Matthew. I kind of gave everybody a brief synopsis of your short film Hair Love. A lot of our fans were questioning what gave you the motivation to write this story, and where did it spawn from?
So yeah, I've always been interested in animation. I'm always like that weird guy that's in the Pixar, the Disney movies, and it's like all kids and with their parents, and then there's like one guy in there, just an adult by himself.
That's me. That was me at Angry Birds too.
And I don't know. I just always loved the storytelling. You could always tell that a lot of time and collaboration was put into telling these really great stories, and that always intrigued me. And despite not having being able to draw and things of that nature, animation is a medium, and oftentimes I look at people like Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I know they don't have a traditional animation background either, but they've been able to really make waves in the animation world. And so a couple of years ago, I'm really big into social media and Twitter especially, and I always try to post like family-friendly content when I come across it, especially involves Black families or families of color. And I just kind of kept coming across these videos of dads doing their daughter's hair, and it was crazy because I'd post videos of moms doing the same thing, and they would never perform as well as the ones with the dads. And I kind of found out that it was like this double-edged sword where, obviously like the videos were cute, but it was also in part because people weren't used to seeing this, and they were kind of treating it like an anomaly. And for me, I have so many young friends who are young fathers, and they'll do whatever they have to do for their kids, be that paint the nails, do a tea party, kind of do whatever. And I don't know, it just seemed like a lane that really hasn't been represented in media, and just wanted to take advantage of that. And so we launched the Kickstarter campaign 2 years ago for the short film. And I feel like I got to clarify it because people think it's based on the book, but it was always kind of created with the short film in mind. And the book kind of came out of the Kickstarter campaign because we offered a children's book as one of the gifts, and we ended up getting a book deal like a week into the Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, wow.
And then the book ended up coming out first.
That's awesome.
And you wrote the book, and you're the artist and everything, or did you have help with that?
Oh, no. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not the best drawer.
Okay, I missed that part.
The book, but Vashti Harrison. So Vashti, it's all about timing. Like I feel like it had this been 6 months later, a lot of this probably wouldn't have happened. But 2 years ago, when I was thinking about doing the Kickstarter campaign, like I've done like 2 other Kickstarter campaigns prior, and they were always like with my indie features that were already shot, already in the can, and lucky enough to have both of my films play at South by Southwest. Mm-hmm. And so what we would always do is like, let's drop the Kickstarter after they announced the film was in the fest, and this will help us get finishing funds, money to travel to get out to the fest, etc. And it's always better too because with Kickstarter campaigns, the whole thing is like people never want to feel like they're funding an idea. It's always performs better when people are like, oh, this is an already ongoing thing, and they just need help.
Yeah,
as
become
opposed
part of
to
it.
You just got to just do your thing from scratch. So, it just kind of came from that, and we met Vashti through a mutual friend who she had like drawn a friend's picture for her birthday, and I had never seen anybody draw like black hair, black pictures like this. And she had already written her book, Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History, but it hadn't come out yet. This was like July 2017, and I reached out blindly. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but I'm about to do this campaign, and I would love to have you a part of the campaign as an illustrator. Maybe we can do some initial artwork and kind of go from there. And she was down.
That's awesome.
I really believe that artwork really helped us become, one of the most funded Kickstarter campaigns on the site. And then in a crazy twist, she ended up being our illustrator for the book too.
Huh. Well, and I remember sitting watching because I heard good things about Angry Birds, and I was really kind of excited to go see it just because I wasn't the biggest.
Let's start over. He was excited to see
and
Angry Birds.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one, so I was excited to go see this. And I remember when the short started, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And I tweeted it out after I saw Angry Birds, and you saw it. I literally the first thing I thought of was it made me feel like I was watching Up for the first time, and it doesn't have the same story as Up, obviously, but it has like kind of heart to it, and you definitely have a lot of passion for it. So I felt that, and I follow you on Twitter, and I see all the praise that you're getting for this. How does that feel, seeing something that you've created kind of take off like the way it has?
It's pretty unreal, man. I mean, I've lived in LA for 12 years now. We've done anything and music videos, kind of done a little bit of everything, and this has really kind of been the first project that's been like released on a mass market scale. So it kind of gets outside of your comfort zone, and outside of people that know you on social media and Twitter and stuff. So yeah, it's been crazy, man. Just seeing the response and just people connecting with it, people of all types, because I do think while it is a very specific story, there's a universality into that as well. And, I think it's really just about what people do for the people that they love, and this little girl in the short, she has this goal and she wants her hair done for this special day. And, at the end of it, she, tries to get her way. And I think people can relate to that.
Oh, it was, and I definitely thought it was special. I don't want to take over this interview. Jim,
it's
go
fine.
ahead.
You got him. Good work. Hey, I have a few. I know it's a new thing, but I'm also into making films. So with this opportunity, obviously stuff is going to launch from it. Are you just bathing in what's happening now, or are you already? Because I see you produced part. I don't know what you did with Black Klansman, but they have you as an executive producer, and so so what's next?
Just a little bit of everything, man. I'm also a team episode of this CBS series called Unicorn with Walter Goggins. The next couple of weeks, I'm producing this Bessie Coleman biopic. She was the first Black aviator. Just kind of stuff like that.
Awesome.
Really, just trying to kind of see what's the next life for the project. Maybe there'll be something more we can do with the story,
Well, yeah.
You'd
think
really
maybe even
the process.
Is there an option to make it a full feature, or would you look into that, or would you rather move into another story?
I think all that stuff is on the table. We just got to figure out what that journey might be. But right now, just really just enjoying getting feedback on the shore.
Pixar started with a jumping lamp, so you never know where it can go from there. So,
and we kind of we all were talking about award possibility for this. And have you considered that? Like, what goes into the process of putting this out for an award season type thing?
I haven't finished, man. I'm an athlete, man. I played 3 years in the league, and I played football all my life, and I don't know, man, I always just operate better when I have a goal in mind, and I remember in prior years, when Feast won the Oscar for the animated short film and Paperman, and even Bow last year, I always kind of in a best case scenario, was like, man, if we do this right, maybe this could be in the conversation.
Right.
I don't think you could ever fully, know how things are going to turn out, just because, obviously so many things can happen, and you're not even really in control of what else comes out.
Yeah, that's
that
crazy.
Particular year. But I don't know. I think we put our best foot forward. I think we told a really sweet story that people never seen before. I think the fact that we're animated in 2D, which is something that we really kind of did out of necessity, just because even though we raise a lot of money on Kickstarter, as you know, a lot of these short films, they got $1 million budgets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were nowhere near that. But, I think right now there's so much fatigue with, kind of big business and
the same story being revisited.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of people kind of like, oh, man, I wish we can get back to the 2D animation days with all these live-action remakes. So, I don't know, I think a lot of things are working in our favor, and, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, and
if we can get into the conversation.
Matthew, we at this podcast we like to kind of give an opportunity to up and coming actors in this area, and we have our guest with us, Chelsea Goodwin. She has a question for you. She's so go ahead, Chelsea.
I always just like to know, how did you decide that the film industry would be your next step?
I was always interested in film. I when I was in high school, I was a part of the radio and the TV club. In college, I majored in radio, TV broadcast. I just happened to be there on a football scholarship. So, I always knew whenever I got done playing ball that I tried to move to LA or New York and try to get into the business. So, started as a PA and then try to work my way up from there.
Well, you're from Chicago, so the real important question is: are you a Bears fan, or are you more towards the ones that paid you?
Yeah, man, I'm I grew up a Bears fan, but now, man, it's like when you get that check and you're
I'm a fan of whoever pays me.
Awesome.
I only ask because I'm a lifetime Bears fan. I back in the day, from Utah, so Jim McMahon was my guy. So I've always I love my Bears, and then to talk to someone who was actually in the league, it's fun to find out, where they're
their past,
where it lies. It's just figuring out where we are. That's all, Matt.
No.
I mean, I'm definitely more of a casual Bears fan nowadays, but ironically enough, I'm probably more the bigger fan now of the first team that signed me, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, it's just more.
If they could figure out something on offense, if they can figure out something on offense, man, they're gonna have a good team.
Yeah. You live in a city and you get to know the kind of team dynamics. So they don't get on TV often, but I always try to support them when I can.
Well, we'll see what happens when Nick Foles takes over full time. Being a lifetime Eagle fan that I am, I'm excited to see how he does. Matthew, we kind of tease about it, but how did you get in front of Angry Birds 2?
Man, it's just all these things that happen, man. It's just like it's just crazy. So, it's really a multi-layered story. So, after we did the Kickstarter campaign, actually before we did the Kickstarter campaign, I reached out to Peter Ramsey. So Peter Ramsey, who, at the time he was in the middle of directing Into the Spider-Verse, but he was nowhere near finished with it. And, he was one of the few African Americans I knew in animation, and we were always kind of really cool online. So I just kind of reached out to him. I was like, hey, I want to send a script your way. And I was curious to know if you think this worked in animation. And luckily, he really responded to it. And I asked him, if he wanted to be kind of more of a passive executive producer on the project. I knew he had a lot going on, and he was down. And so after that happened and the Kickstarter was done, she was really cool with this woman whose name was Karen Rupert Tolliver, who at the time was like a SVP, and reached out to her. We were like, we can use as many kind of people in the mix who know animation as possible, and she was down. And in the middle of this whole process, she ended up moving to Sony Animation, and and then Into the Spider-Verse comes out and it does really well. So it's like, if you change one of those ingredients, like, likely we wouldn't have had enough. It was crazy. We always had the deadline of July 31st in the back of our mind, and we literally turned the film in on July 31st. So like 2 weeks before Angry Birds hit theaters, and they were like,
here it is.
They're like, that's the last date you guys had to turn it in and put it on the DCP, and we were, just scrambling trying to make it, and luckily we did.
That sounds like independent filmmaking right there. That's it to a T. No, we got it in. What are you talking about? It's perfect. Here you go.
And did you have a choice to put I guess it doesn't really matter. You take a feature film, whatever. But I remember you've been very vocal about kind of Angry Birds 2 being a lot better than the first one. And did you get to meet with any people over there at Angry Birds?
Dude. Oh, that's another part of the process, man. So, even with all this happening, obviously, like, there are other people involved with Angry Birds. So you have the producer, John Cohen, you have the director, Thurup, you have, the team at Rovio. So, like, literally all of them had to see the short when it wasn't complete to kind of make that assessment, like, okay, we think this will be good, or no, we don't like it. We don't want to be associated with it. And, in the middle of this whole race, they all saw it. We had conversations. They gave their feedback, and they all approved it. And I just think it's a great thing because for us, it really opens us up, obviously, to like a bigger audience and an audience that may not have normally seen this. And I think for them, it's kind of a similar thing too, where hopefully, regardless of what you came there to see initially, you stay for both, and then you end up kind of falling in love with both. So, I think it was a really smart move on both of our behalves to be attached in this way because, I think we both are just like adding to each other's audiences.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and we won't take you too much more of your time, but to kind of go off of your point there, it's interesting to see because you see your film and it's obviously has a lot of heart to it. But I also went watching because I watched Angry Birds 1 about a week before I went and saw Angry Birds 2, and I noticed that they replaced the director and the writers, and you can just kind of tell that they're that Thurup Van Orden, I believe, is the director for Angry Birds 2. That he's been given a shot, and you can tell that he's an incredibly talented animator already with his work from Adventure Time. that you can kind of see that this was kind of his opportunity to finally be able to tell his story on a project that isn't, as regarded as some of the other animations.
Yeah, it's not going to be under the scrutiny.
Exactly. So he's able to kind of
the fact that it's good actually makes people go, oh, and by the way, Angry Birds 2 is good.
So,
yeah.
Did you get to meet with the director for Angry Birds 2 at all, or is that you were kind of distant from that?
Yeah, we like I said, they had to approve the short of being on the film, and so we had a call. We didn't actually meet until the day of the premiere. But now, we're both kind of in the trenches together.
In it together.
Trying to promote and make sure that people see it and it can stay in theaters as long as possible.
Awesome.
And, well, let's go around. Emily, did you have a question that you wanted to ask before we let
Chelsea asked it.
Okay, cool. Chelsea, do you have another question you want to ask Matthew before we let him go?
No.
Good, because I got one.
Okay.
All right, Matthew. So on this podcast, what we like to do is the whole point of this, it's not just a movie review podcast. What we like to do is try to find older films or unappreciated films, underappreciated films that, for some reason didn't really get the love that it should have. And that's what we mostly talk about rather than just new films, because you can only tease the new films. We can talk about those old films front to back. Like today we're talking about The Lookout, that old Joseph Gordon-Levitt film that he did 12 years ago. So what would be on your list of movies that, that you go and watch, that your other friends, when you bring it up, they're kind of like, what? But it's how could you not know this film and love this film? Which is your film like that, so that we can go and have another show to watch this week?
Well, I'm hoping that you guys have already seen it, but, my movie is Barry Jenkins' Medicine for Melancholy.
Sorry, you cut out right there. Your phone cut out. We didn't hear that.
Perfect time to cut out.
Yeah.
Movie Medicine for Melancholy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Medicine for Melancholy.
His first movie. Yeah, it's this really small, intimate story about kind of similar to Hair Love in some ways, and of just a day in the life of of an African American couple.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just a really charming story. And growing up in Chicago, not really being around the film business, I always looked at filmmaking all right, if you're not dealing with $1 million budgets, you're not blowing up bridges and stuff,
Yep, nobody's going to watch it.
You can't really be a filmmaker. And this was the first time I saw a filmmaker that looked like me telling this really intimate story about pretty much these people that meet and have a first date. And it was just a day in their life.
Barry Jenkins.
And that really inspired me to, that just really inspired me to become a filmmaker. I could tell a story like that, instead of I have an idea for some big action franchise. It's let me start with something personal and then
just let's hit the heartstring. I gotta be lucky enough. I gotta be in an Adam Sandler film, but it's the Adam Sandler film that nobody's seen. So when I tell people I'm in an Adam Sandler movie, and they're like, "Which one?" and I'm like, "I'm in Punch Drunk Love," and they're all like, "What? What is?"
Oh no, that was the one. That's the one. That's the one.
It's his best work. Yeah, nobody knows it, but me. I'm one of the 4 brothers that go and beat him up and take his money. That's me and my actual brothers. And
there it is.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I've been in a lot of these movies. I'm like, you got to appreciate, just because you didn't see it in the movie theater, don't mean that they're not good films. And this fits in the criteria perfectly. So thank you for sharing.
Definitely. And Matthew, before we let you go, kind of give our listeners a way to find you on Twitter and Instagram, and just look out for your next work.
Yeah. I'm pretty easy to find on social. Matthew A. Cherry is pretty much the handle for everything, and then Hair Love Movie is the handle for the short. So look forward to. We're gonna probably drop a teaser trailer soon, hopefully, and try to just keep dropping content leading up to the end of the year. So
awesome.
Check us out.
Well, thank you for coming on. This will drop tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., so I'll be sure to share it with you when I get it all finished. But I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know you're probably really busy. And, I really...
He's like, are you kidding me? I'm on that Hollywood money now. He's like, I'm cool. I got time.
I really appreciate your story that you were able to share with us.
The short filmmaking
work. I know. I kid.
But, I really appreciate your story that you were able to share and just taking some time with us.
Yeah, no, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right, take care, Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Yeah, see you.
Boop, boop.
Wow.
That was cool.
That was pretty fun, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We did it.
That was, I think I'm just going to leave his movie that he had us watch as my movie
Next week?
challenge this week, because I think
The
that'd be
budget was $15,000
for
Medicine for Melancholy.
Medicine for
and it's Barry
Melancholy.
Jenkins, like one of his first movies too.
Yeah.
Barry Jenkins, who directed Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk, which both I didn't. Moonlight wasn't for me, but I understand it's a good movie. It's not for me, and I liked If Beale Street Could Talk a lot last year.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah, exactly right.
So intense, and you could watch.
They made it in a tent.
Oh yeah,
so intense, and you can just.
They made it intense.
Yes,
oh yeah,
intense.
definitely. He's
That's
gonna
right,
give you.
Jim.
He's gonna give you a hard time for that.
He gives me a hard time for that.
But yeah, so thank you.
Intense.
Yep.
Thank you, Matthew. Again,
Yeah, that was
he's
awesome.
not here anymore. But
But maybe he's listening.
I hope
later. And
so.
Good work. That was fun.
Chelsea, what was that like for you?
Enough about us. What do you think of us, Chelsea?
I have no opinion. So.
All right. Now it's Chelsea's turn. We've brought on Chelsea Goodwin this week. I've known Chelsea for at least 6 weeks now.
Yeah,
Maybe
6 weeks.
maybe
not
7 weeks.
years, 6
Maybe,
weeks.
maybe 7 weeks. And we've crossed paths and been
That's
friends.
fewer
and-
than our show, like Life.
What?
I don't even know when we became friends.
It's been a while now.
It's been a few years.
It's been quite a while.
I
I'm sure
believe.
Facebook will remind us.
Eventually.
At Facebook, that's Facebook friendship land. I think
What?
it's before.
That's how it becomes official.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't count.
I've only been friends with my
official
dad
on
for
Facebook.
12 years.
See?
So
Well,
yay.
it's probably pretty accurate. You've actually only been friends with your dad.
Maybe that's
Pretty
very,
accurate.
It's very deep thought right there. So,
So-
Chelsea, tell us a little bit about your career in acting and all that good stuff.
Jazz.
Yay, talking about myself.
Yay.
I've been acting since I was 11. So, ironically, I was super shy when I was a kid, and my mom forced me into a theater class.
Oh, nice.
So that's how I started falling in love with acting.
Thespian.
Thespian, yeah. I was in the Thespian Society. I even lettered
Wow.
in theater.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jim. We're one of the few.
Yep, I was a thespian.
And then from there, like, I graduated high school, all that stuff, and then I felt like I needed more, and I've always loved movies, so I went and found an agent and then started my journey into film, which has been...
I forgot we worked together. We did aptitude test together.
Yes, we did.
Are
Are you IMDbing me?
Speaking of shorts, of course, that's my job.
Yeah. I'm bad at the social media.
I'm
thing.
terrible at it.
So, yeah, I don't even have a picture on IMDb.
Me neither. I got 3-4 pages. I don't care.
That's probably true.
I really do. I got like Jim
So-
Smooth, James Smooth, Jimmy Stevens, James Stevens.
I have a couple because there's
Yeah.
a few mismarked things
See?
on there.
Interesting.
Which one's your favorite?
Favorite thing that I've done so far?
Whether anyone's seen it or not, what's your favorite?
I actually wrote something last year, and then I was able to star in it and get it all filmed that same
Which was?
year.
Your passion project.
It's a passion project which I'm going to rename, so I'm not going to tell you the name of it.
So it's just working title.
Yeah, working title.
Excellent.
And I did it with one of my good friends because it's about unrequited love.
Unrequited love?
Yes. There you go.
I don't know what unrequited means.
Yeah,
but
well, I was like, what? I'm like, what is this? What is
Sorry,
it?
I'm
Unrequited.
from Utah, all right? And
Unrequited? See, now let's Google that one. That's a good word. I'm going to find a way to use it in a sentence.
I'm creating words here.
I don't know if unrequited is a word.
It is now.
It is now because I just said
That's
it.
dang right.
All right.
But yeah, I did it with a good friend named Matt Mascaro. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
I know that name.
He's another local actor, and it's 15 pages, and it's a lot of dialogue. So that was really intense, and we basically had to shoot the whole thing in like one take. So the first 8 pages is one.
Oof.
Oh,
take.
jeez.
Yeah.
It takes a lot
What'd
of
you
effort.
shoot it on?
You'll have to ask Roman.
Okay. One of them fancy gadgets that he pushed the red button on?
Yes.
Excellent.
One of those fancy-
Awesome.
Yeah. And,
So when are we going to be able to see it, or when are you going to send me a rough cut so I can see it?
I haven't been able to find an editor. Everybody I keep trying to hire and offer money to they keep bailing on me.
I can probably help you there.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I'll talk to some of my friends.
Let's talk.
Okay. I don't want to edit it, but I know some people.
That's how it works. It's like, my people
I know
talk.
a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's
we'll
been
be
an
in
interesting
touch.
project. I'm really excited about that one.
Excellent.
Because
Perfect.
It's been a while since I've been on set to do something where I felt proud of.
Right. Rather than here being a local actor where I'm just looking at guitarist friend, weather girl, hot woman.
I get hot woman a lot.
What's up, hot woman? I get thug number 2, bar patron,
Bum number 4.
bum number 4,
Hot
gang
Woman
member.
Was that what
Never
TV
Hot
show
Woman.
was Hot Woman? I always forget that one.
I don't.
Blood and Oil.
Oh yeah,
Blood and Oil.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not. My butt is featured in that one, but nothing else.
I'm sure that hot butt has a very interesting brain and a personality behind it. That's
Exactly.
Probably could have come up with a better name.
I don't know how that came to be, but that's how I ended up editing. That's why I don't tell people when I'm in stuff sometimes.
I got
because
hired-
I have no idea how it's going to turn out.
I got hired to be a crackhead one time, and I was dressed like a crackhead. Then they decided I was like a tough guy. But then the director kept getting upset with me, saying that I didn't seem very intimidating. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm dressed like a crackhead. I don't know.
Oh, yes. My first SAG movie, I was so stoked. I told everybody that I was in this movie.
Like you do.
And I got cut out.
Oh.
So that's like the big lesson. And that was Jackie and Ryan.
That's how Charlie found out he was in Ocean's 11. We went out to Vegas. I went with him to record his part in Ocean's 11, and he went to the premiere, sitting down, and found out he wasn't in the movie when he was sitting there.
I wasn't heartbroken. I just felt bad for everybody else who had to sit through the movie
Yeah.
to try to find me. You see the back of my head?
See?
That's something.
And my scene was with Ben Barnes, and he's in The Punisher on Netflix. And he's like a really sweet guy. Like, I remember just looking at him going, this is like my first SAG movie. Can I take a picture with you? And he's like, yes. Get in here.
Obviously.
You ask him, well, I guess you probably knew him before. It was like how it felt when the Punisher was destroying his face on that shredded glass.
Well, yeah. Good times. That's a good scene.
No, this was way before that when he was skinny
yes.
and not like solid
Buffed.
muscle.
All right. Fair enough. Well, we Chelsea, we appreciate you coming on. We also did some homework this week. I don't know if we actually told you. I don't rember.
You did not tell me.
Well,
this.
let's talk about her Be Bold real quick. She has a quick thing that I want to talk about
go
real
ahead.
quick. She does what is it, monthly or how often do you
It's
go?
monthly currently. I'm hoping to do twice a month.
Right. And what's it called?
It's called Be Bold Power Up. I'm going to change it just to Be Bold because it's a lot.
But what's it about real quick? Because I know a lot of people have heard about it, and some people even on just the Facebook posts are saying, what exactly is the Be Bold?
So Be Bold is a group for actors, empowering actors, letting actors see what is out there in the community of film industry, especially with acting coaches. We bring in different acting coaches every now and then. You've been one of our special guests.
Oh, I have. A couple times.
Yeah, and then just empowering people, empowering actors. I felt like this for a really long time, and that's one of the reasons why the group started was that actors don't have the proper knowledge of the industry in this state. They don't understand contracts. They don't understand the working relationship with agents.
No, they not. They have no clue.
And they're underappreciated, underpaid, and it just makes me really upset to see that that's what's happening, not just in the Utah film industry. It's pretty much any state.
Oh, yeah.
Just put that out there.
If you don't know, they're going to take advantage of you, and they do a great job here.
And that way, I feel like I started with myself and I went, I have to share this knowledge with others.
Right.
And so that's why we have the group. It's just so that we can have honest discussions.
So we can attack the double dip rule.
Yeah.
That's a big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, I hate that
I've learned a lot of agencies in the state actually do double dip.
Lots of double dips. What that, we talked about that before. I brought that up where because they already pay us less than anywhere else, they'll add a plus 10, plus 15, plus 20 to your contract to pay for your agent so that you can still at least walk with some, legit money. Well, what the agencies are doing is they're taking that money and then still now they're only agents, but they're calling themselves managers. So they're taking that whatever plus percentage and then taking now 20% on top of before taxes again. as their agency / manager fees, so that by the end of it, after you get taxed and after they take out all their money, they're making as much as you are.
And you're just
Yeah,
like, okay.
pretty much.
That's awful.
I encourage everybody to go look up state laws because it's actually against the law.
Yep.
All right.
So.
And is this something that people can just attend, your Be Bold thing? Or
Yeah, once a month. I advertise it's every third Saturday of the month. It is usually 12 to
Your next guest
4
is
p.m.
Robert Andrus.
I have Robert Andrus
He
joining us.
came to join us a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
Robert and I have been
he
friends
shared
for a long
that
time.
mic with Tua.
With Tua.
Tua.
So awesome. I'll definitely when you promote it, let us know, and we'll share it on our Facebook
Yeah,
pages.
I always tell Jim that he's welcome to promote anything.
That's
He's
right.
promoted your show on our page.
Sure have.
Awesome. Way to be, Jim.
Pimpin'.
We did some homework this week, though,
did
and
do
I'm
homework.
curious if you've probably seen one of them, the other one maybe not. The two movies that we were challenged to watch this week were The Lookout with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Have you seen that one before?
A very long time ago.
Yeah, this
Totally
is
fine.
like the movie that he did Brick with Ryan Johnson, who went on to do the new Star Wars 8. And then he did The Lookout, which was the first one. This is where he went from being a TV star to a movie star, and that's the one that really, I mean, not a lot of people saw it, but the people that did see it went, okay, he's not a TV actor. And that's what actually started him into what you know now is one of the biggest movie stars in the world. But it started with Brick and The Lookout.
Yeah, Breakout rolled in.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then the other movie is The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Very independent, very small. Nobody saw.
No one saw that
Yeah,
one.
very
one saw
tiny little film that just came out like a couple of years ago.
Who's Heath Ledger? What?
Let's start with The Lookout.
Go.
I actually really liked the intro to this, the way that it kind of set it up as him.
Kind of
being this-
Memento-ish.
I've never seen Memento.
Oh,
so.
jeez.
I haven't either, so it's
Oh,
okay.
jeez.
That's before
I'm
my time.
sorry.
What the
I
heck?
saw like so many scenes in scene study class
Yeah.
for Memento. I had no desire to
Okay.
ever see that movie.
You
fair.
do Memento like it.
It's
The whole
overdone.
point of it is to put the whole thing together because it's not
Goes backwards.
It's yeah.
But it doesn't just go backwards.
It's a
it goes forward.
it breaks the rules of
normal storytelling.
movie
Yeah.
storytelling.
And so The Lookout.
So The Lookout. And I enjoyed like this kind of. I was trying to piece
He has
what
to
the
write
lookout.
everything down because he has a brain
Well,
trauma.
I was trying to figure out what The Lookout meant. Like
Right.
it was maybe there's a guy like out there who's looking out for him.
Right.
And
Which kind of was with
yeah.
the Jeff Bridges character.
well, there's that guy, but there's also the guy at the bar that turned out to be the bad guy.
Bad guy.
But I was like, maybe like that's gonna be the way this
Right.
story goes. It's
And
gonna
then
be
you find
him,
out-
it's him trying to kind of get back to
Get
his
the
normal
lookout,
life and
right.
and kind of
Figure out
like
his
he's
world.
gonna have people like out there looking out for
And
him.
he has to write everything down on this notebook to remember to process anything. And he always says to himself, in order to tell a story, you got to work your way backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jeff
a lot of
Bridges.
the times, whenever he'd have big troubles, he would start with the end of the story and then connect the lines in order,
Daniels,
which is also a very good memorization technique. By
I
the
thought
way.
I thought about that as well. Actually, Jeff Daniels was almost
Excellent.
unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Like he's a blind man in the movie, and he's got this big old beard and long
Can I
hair.
just call him out on that word, unrecognizable.
I can reckon.
Yeah, I know. I messed
Hey,
I messed
you made
up.
fun of me.
Yeah.
So.
I knew
Unrecognizable.
exactly what he meant.
Unrecognizable. And so he was great. But yeah, Matthew Good, I believe, was Gary, the bad.
You don't know is a bad dude until
Until
then the very young and talented Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
She looks.
I
Isla?
love her.
Yeah,
Isla Fisher?
it's Isla.
I know it is.
It is not
Why would you
Isla.
call her Isla? That's
It's just
awful.
because a lot of people think because of the way it's spelled, it's supposed to be, but it's Isla. Her
Yeah.
name is Isla Fisher, and she's like probably 19 in the movie, and she's gorgeous, and she does a really good job.
She's one of the most beautiful women in the world, I say.
Yep, agreed. And she does a great job. So if you haven't seen The Lookout, so basically the reason why he's called The Lookout is because he works at a bank. And so these people basically find him and know he works there in order to basically try to get him to help him rob this bank. And then once he kind of starts figuring out it's bad and he shouldn't be doing it, he tries to get out of it, but he's in it too deep already. And so that's why he's the lookout, because he's getting basically looking out to get this bank robbed. And then because of his limited abilities with his brain and the way he processes things, he's able to try to figure a way to get himself out of this.
Yeah.
And it actually turns into I really like this movie, and I just
Yeah.
watched it again recently, and it holds up very nicely.
It does. And I enjoy Joseph Gordon-Levitt's story. His name is Chris Pratt in the movie.
Chris Pratt.
Which I thought was funny.
Before Chris Pratt was Chris Pratt.
Yeah, so that was an interesting... but his character, when he was trying to like take out the bad guys after Lewis, Jeff Daniels' character, gets kidnapped. And you think that... I like the kind of small twist of him giving up the money because he fails.
Right.
So
Spoilers.
You think,
Well, that's why we watch older films. That's the whole point of this, is so that way, because if we're talking a brand new movie, we can't
Angry
give it
Birds
away.
2.
No.
We can't give it away because it's in the theaters. But if you haven't seen a movie that was out in 2007 and we told you last week we're going to watch it, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we try to talk about old movies, because we can actually talk about the movie.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I still gonna say that.
It's always fun to say spoiler.
Spoiler this.
But like
Now people are like,
12
well, I don't
years
need
ago.
to see the movie. Still see the movie.
Still see the
Still
movie.
see it. And but yeah, so when he like goes and gets the money back, I kind of
I have the money. I have the power.
so I really enjoyed it, the way it kind of ended. You know, there's a lot of loose things that didn't get tied up, like his relationship with the girl that was in the car accident with him. That kind of
They never. He kept dreaming about getting back and making it right with her, but he never really did.
Never.
And then
answered that.
Isla Fisher was part of the bad guys, but she kind of left.
Yeah.
They kind of like
I don't remember
cheated
what
out of
happened to her.
so she wasn't part of the robbery.
Yeah.
She kind of just disappeared after she.
So was it kind of like a slice of life film, kind of in that way, where it kind of leaves things open
A
ended?
little bit. Well, I think for some reason they decided to make the girlfriend, because she actually at one point when they were saying, because Jeff Bridges, Jeff Daniels, excuse me, there's so many Jeff somethings, two names. He was saying, "What are you here for? What are you doing?" You know, and he's calling her out, and she's actually going. He's like, "You're not going to be invited to Thanksgiving," and she's like, "Why not? Why wouldn't I be invited to?" And it's like for a second there, I'm like, "Wait a minute, do you really like this guy, or are you trying to get him to do this robbery?" And then she leaves before the robbery happens, and then it doesn't really explain
why or the reason for it. So there's a lot of like loose things that I just kind of had to ignore. Deputy Ted was great. I loved his character. He was a nice small.
I love that character too much that
she got so mad at me.
I was because he didn't listen to me because I went to go walk the dog in the middle of the movie. And he's like, "I'll pause it."
It wasn't the end. It was like the end of the movie.
The climax, and I was like, "No, it's okay. You don't have to pause it because I don't need to see the robbery go bad and the deputy die." And he's like, "That's not what happens." And so he paused it, and I come back in, and that's exactly what happened.
You said
and
the
I got
guy.
So mad.
She's like, "I don't need to see the guy
No,
die,"
I
and I'm
said
like,
the
"Joseph
deputy
Gordon doesn't die. He doesn't die."
Yeah,
the deputy died, and he said that's not what happened.
He's a dumb part.
And I enjoy his like friendship, because like when Joseph Gordon-Levitt freaks out at him just to kind of get him away, like because he knows that if he comes back he'll like get killed.
And then Scott, of course, he wrote Logan.
Yeah,
the director wrote Logan, which was one of the best superhero films of all time.
Scott Frank.
Agreed. That movie
Scott
was
Frank.
He was a writer on Logan.
Yes, he was one of the writers.
So awesome. Speaking of one of the best superhero movies of all time,
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin,
with
starring
Chris O'Donnell.
And George
Clooney with bat nipples.
Oh my god!
I was like, isn't there
Alicia
Silverstone? There we go.
Yeah. Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yep. So
and
rather
Thurman,
than Jean-Luc Picard as Mr. Freeze, they go with Arnold.
Arnold is
the Mr. Freeze.
So The Dark Knight came out in 2009. So crazy enough to think about that.
Ago.
It's 10 years old, and is it still the best?
It is the best still.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It not only did it set up changing it from something that was like a cliche, couldn't we make a film that people want to watch that also has the bat, like some kind of a superhero? It turned into an actual really good story. Like I remember watching Batman Begins and going, okay, they're setting it like as if it was in a real world rather than what you saw in Batman and Robin, where it was, in a fantasy land that would never happen.
Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Begins.
No, there's something special about that.
Well, just how it starts with the bats flying to making the bat sign. Like I'm like, wow, it looks like it's made in a real world.
Well, that one got my heartstrings because you could really see the relationship between Bruce and the father.
Yeah. And
great way to do an origin story was that one. I still go back and watch that one.
There's so many moments, like acting moments from Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Oh, he's in that?
You like honestly, like I wasn't like coherent enough or like in tune with the kind of pop culture business, but I understand that when he was announced as the Joker, there were so many people
were pissed,
up in the arms because of
even Jack Nicholson said, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
Like,
and it. But like, there's so many moments in that movie that just like acting is like amazing. Like the whole part when he's blowing up the hospital, where like that's an actual
won't blow up,
and it was an actual hospital that they rigged to blow, and he had the ignition to the bomb, and literally when he turned the switch, it didn't work. So that's him just like
diddling with it.
He didn't like freak out and get out of character. He just embraced it and went, "What?"
And then it actually worked, and it turned out to be perfect. Or like, there's so many moments that just kind of go to like one of the greatest movie villains, not comic book villains, but villains altogether in the Joker that he portrayed. Like, it's like, it's not about the money, it's about the message, that kind of thing. It's just like...
Do you know the Joker's first actual line of dialogue in the first night, or the Dark Knight? Do you know what it is?
It's when the guy is like, who are you? Or something like that.
Isn't it around the magic trick one?
Nope.
It's the guy when he puts the...
and he says, what doesn't kill you makes you
stronger.
Stranger.
Oh, yeah, and then Katy Perry stole it and made a song out of it.
Oh, really?
No.
Katy Perry did?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
And how would you, again, that's not to derail everything, but what?
It's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Makes you stranger.
And Aaron Eckhart, who kind of disappeared after this movie.
BYU grad.
Yep. He did a great job as kind of really Two-Face. Like you really kind of understand.
I really like the movie. It's a great movie. It's one that you like. It's one of those that I got to put on the list every.
I was kind of happy they
got to get through
replaced her with Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I'm not a big Maggie Gyllenhaal fan, but
she can act though.
I liked her way better than Katie Holmes.
Yeah, Katie Holmes was a very good actress, and the Gyllenhaal, that girl can act.
Yep. So
she really can.
All them Gyllenhaals are great.
So and Christian Bale does a good job in it.
He's the best. He's, in my opinion, he's the best Batman.
And you grew up with. What's his bucket?
Mr. Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
I'm a sucker for Michael Keaton. I'm sorry.
Michael Keaton?
She's very enunciative.
Very enunciative. All of a sudden, look at that. Where'd that come from? I like Michael.
Don't
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Michelle Pfeiffer will forever be my Catwoman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Michelle Pfeiffer beats out Anne Hathaway any day of the week.
What about Halle Berry?
No.
Michelle Pfeiffer still beats out Halle Berry,
Yeah.
although Halle Berry definitely looks better in a catsuit.
That movie was terrible. We don't even want to go there. Just not a good movie
It had
at all.
potential to be awesome.
Yeah. So what's the spoiler in that one?
Is there a spoiler?
No, because it's the middle movie, so there isn't really an end. And the way they set it up was Joker was supposed to be in the third one.
Yeah, to come back.
Yeah, and because there's a line at the end where he says, "I feel like we can do this forever," which then turned into a different kind of line because it's like, oh, even though he's dead, they can do it forever. It's in a movie. Blah, blah,
and
blah.
a lot of common misconceptions is that this drove Heath Ledger
That's
off the
crap.
edge. And
It was an
accident. A lot of
Couldn't sleep.
A lot of people have
He had
actors.
a lot of personal
He did.
stuff happening at that time.
And a lot of actors have come out one of the thugs, Michael something, I forgot his full name. He came out on a podcast recently and was talking about how Heath wasn't everyone's saying though he was Joker from start to finish, and he didn't come out of character at all. And he said no, on cuts he would come over and talk to us.
Yeah, there's pictures of him skateboarding as the Joker, he's ollieing over over Batman in one picture, literally skateboarding over Batman.
So and the common idea is that this
and he was
role,
he's almost finished with Dr. Parnassus.
Exactly,
Parnassium.
Yeah, this
he was under
this movie,
a lot of stress.
Yeah.
He
couldn't sleep.
He couldn't sleep.
It was just
he
an accident.
was dealing with a lot of personal issues.
Yep.
So,
and an accident happened.
But yeah,
don't do drugs.
It's one of these movies that I try to watch every year. I enjoy The Dark Knight a lot, but
it's one of those that goes on my at least once a year list for sure. The whole trilogy, you just got to watch all of them.
The third one's kind of hard to get through, but I agree.
I like the third one.
I
I like
loved-
Bane.
I think it's fun, but
I loved it.
It doesn't compare to the first
Well,
two.
it's because they had to kind of scramble to put it together. But
Yeah, exactly.
but Bane, I really like Bane. I like Mr. Hardy a lot.
What a beautiful voice.
Right.
I thought it was awesome how they left it open to have another Batman.
I wish
take.
they would have. I wish
They were talking about it.
I wish they would have
Done a
killed
fourth.
Christian Bale. Not the Batman, his character. I wish they would have just
I'm
left
a
it
sucker
dead.
for a happy
Yeah,
ending.
there's
I'm
no way
glad
there's
he
no way
ended
the
up
studio
with-
is going to let that happen.
I really, because it would be so Shakespearean.
Yeah, but they could have done Nightwing with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Speaking of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, how do we keep doing that? There's always a weird connection
Hey,
every
I
week.
didn't even think of that.
There's always a
Well,
connection
we-
in the
I
films.
thought you guys did that on purpose. I'm
No.
like, oh, it's
Well,
Joseph
we didn't do
Bale.
Dark Knight Rises, but
No.
we were talking about the
But
trilogy.
he's in the talks.
He's in the story.
No, it always happens that way. Or we'll both pick a period, something, or like it's weird. I don't know what it is. It's this week. There's no way because you just picked a different one, so ours will be completely different.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
I already got mine.
I kind of we're out of time, and so
Out of
we'll keep it
time.
short. But it didn't make much money this weekend, and I know that it gets a bad rap because of its previous. But I really go
You're
out.
selling this Angry Birds.
Go
man.
out and see Angry Birds 2. It deserves to be watched. It's one of the better animated movies. I liked it better than the Lego Movie. I liked it better than Toy Story 4. I liked it better than what other one did I
Yeah, you
see?
had a couple of them on there.
Are you saying it beats Keanu?
Keanu,
The Keanu part is, but there's a lot of funny parts in this that
dude, kaboom!
I still How to Train Your Dragon 3 is still my favorite.
Yeah, I know.
But-
I tried to rewatch 2 recently because I was trying to figure out because I liked 1,
Yeah.
but I can't ever get through 2.
2 makes me cry every
Like
time.
it's the same thing. Like I can't get through Zoolander. I've never seen Zoolander front to back.
Yeah.
I just can't finish that movie for some reason. I keep falling asleep.
That's fine.
So I can watch 3 again, and I can't get through 2.
So I highly suggest if you have kids or if you're just a big animated fan, I say go see it. Go give it a chance. It deserves to be watched. And then you can also, even if you don't want to watch it, go and watch Hair Love. Matthew does a great job, and he was so gracious to come on the show today. So,
No, he was a really cool guy.
and Jim, what is your movie challenge for me?
See, I went because I'm selfish. I'm a selfish person who's very humble. Very humble.
Obviously.
Very humble.
Very humble.
I want to watch it this week. What We Do in the Shadows.
Which one is that? It's not the new one that came
It's
out,
a
right?
comedy, right?
It's a comedy.
It's so great.
It's
I've been
a-
wanting to see it forever.
Yeah,
It's a-
it is.
yes,
also
watch it.
Takiki Wakakakiki, Takakiki, Mr. Thor
Taika.
Ragnar,
Taika Waititi.
Takakakiki,
Okay.
that guy,
Did you know, to kind of keep on this Taika,
Takatiki.
Jojo Rabbit? It's supposed to be I've heard a lot of
Yeah,
great
that's
things.
going to be good.
It's probably the best movie of the year.
I hope so because I
Speaking-
love him so much. And then we just did Wilder People, which was fantastic.
That was good too.
Thor Ragnarok is
Yep, that's
fantastic,
good.
and this is the one that he made with Jermaine Clement
Okay.
with the Flight of the
So what is it called again?
Conchords. It's called What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
It's a mockumentary about a film crew
Vampires.
that follow
That's funny.
a bunch of vampires.
So
That's funny.
funny.
Okay.
I love Flight of the Conchords.
You'll love this movie.
So
It
funny.
just came into my mind, and I mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to be very brief, but Blinded by the Light is my favorite movie of the year so far. I went and saw it with my grandma, and I thought it was amazing.
You just go watch movies with grandma?
It was the first time. It was the first time, but I
And
did
you didn't
double
even
feature.
pay. You didn't
You
even
didn't
take
pay.
her on a date.
I didn't pay for my
You
own.
didn't get her popcorn, nothing?
I didn't.
She's on that diet.
You work
Taking
full
it.
time now. You have a living
true.
wage.
It's
And a
true.
You
girlfriend.
couldn't treat your
It's true.
grandma.
Look at you all grown up.
The movie,
Friends with your dad.
the movie that I'm challenging everyone is the one that Matthew suggested, is Medicine for Melancholy. It's Barry Jenkins' first animated first
It's
First
a
movie.
cartoon.
his first movie. So we'll check
Chelsea,
it out.
Chelsea, you got anything to throw out at us? One of your favorite movies that nobody watches that they should love? Give it some love.
I have such a passion for movies. Like for instance, I think it's an oldie but a goodie, and I just learned that they're in talks to remake it, and I'm mad.
Which one?
Home Alone
Well, yeah, I heard that they're making a TV show
makes me really upset.
on Disney Plus.
Stranger Than Fiction's probably one of my favorite movies.
With Will Ferrell.
Yeah, you see him in a different light.
Yeah.
Is that the one that he's like in the book?
He's like in the story.
Yeah,
Emma
okay, I
Thompson.
remember
And then
that
you can
one.
start hearing the
Dustin
narrator.
I remember that.
I'll put that on my to watch list this
I
week.
know a lot of people think that movie's awful, and I don't know. As an actor. I guess it's an actor movie because I just
See,
see
I love that
so
he
much
brought
beauty
her
in
a
it.
people
box
think.
of flowers. And that was the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, Emily.
Yeah, he did bring her a box of flowers.
We
It
could
makes
go
me
on and
cry
on.
because you see
What does your dream house
a
look
lot of
like in your
stories
mind?
that are not even. You're sitting there watching and you're going, why are we watching all these other people?
Yeah.
And then everything comes together.
Well, I'll put that on my 2 list. If we have time, we'll talk about it next week. But I love finding out what the guests like to watch, so then I can go back and go, okay, word, and then I could either make fun of you or
You can totally make fun of me if you're
no,
like,
I
that
actually
movie
like-
sucks.
I actually like that movie a lot.
I think it's actually a really good one.
and Will's really good in it. So.
What a movie! What an episode today, right?
It was okay.
It was okay.
What'd you think, Coach Sataki? Yeah, Coke's up.
Quiet, like always. So
BYU.
Emily, do you have the outro set up?
We had a beginning. We had a phone call. We had an excellent guest.
Yeah, and
We didn't talk about Steve.
Oh yeah, we almost missed that one again.
We didn't even bring up Steve and our
Who's
one
Steve?
and Steve is
My
our
older
one
brother.
and only sponsor of Kodiak Cakes.
Kodiak Cakes.
Did you bring me any?
Yay,
Did you bring me?
Steve.
I did actually.
Did you bring me a Kodiak cake?
Oh yeah.
Because I'll eat that for breakfast tomorrow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not even
I
kidding.
hear they have protein pancakes.
They do.
that are
They
That's,
do.
that's the idea.
filling.
They're
That's the
actually
idea.
tasty.
That's the idea.
Go Kodiak Cakes.
Yeah.
So, Kodiak
There you go.
Cakes, great breakfast options. But yeah,
Great breakfast options.
So Emily, whenever you're ready, I'm excited to see how
show.
everyone thinks of this one. So thanks, guys.
Hi, Mom.